Hi y'all, welcome back to my channel. I'm glad that a lot of you guys joined my last voting sessions. And I'm happy to announce that Rina got the throne for this week. Yay! So make sure to subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for the next vote. I'm excited to engage this session with you guys again. But before I start the video, I want to bring up the latest update from KR server. To be honest, I'm very disappointed by the new character balance. So long story short, they wanted to make all class reward from scaling CP. So they changed the buff and healing ratio and make it scale with the CP that you have. I mean, that's kind of a good idea to encourage support tier class to aim higher. But why they set the base ratio so low? I thought they wanted to make this game more new player friendly. And when I first saw this patch note, I was like, what? Well anyways, I might as well make another video to cover this when the patch is officially out in KR. Okay, so without further ado, let's start reviewing our featured character, Rina. Rina is part of the original trio from this game. In fact, I think a lot of you know that Elsword was tend to be the Grand Chase sequel when it first developed. So when Elsword officially launched in Acer servers, KOG make a sword-sized story to connect the trio character between two games. And from that story, we know that Rina and Lyri are actually from the same elf clan. They got sent out by the elf elder to help rescuing the forest where they live in. I really like this kind of Easter egg of Elsword. I guess back in the day, KOG still pay a lot of attention for this kind of small details. So let's move on to Rina's unique system, Nature Spores. Her system is very simple. So you get an NF orbs by command attacks or active skills. Or simply just using Awakening to refill the gauge. It will give you self buff and explosion damage with your special active skills. The more you have, the better damage and buff you will get. And all three Rinas will gain a enhanced NF effect passive when hitting Transcendence. When you awaken at 3rd beats, NF system will stop consuming any orbs and stay at full gauge. In another word, just make sure to awake at 3rd beat when using Rina. Easy. Also, she accelerates mana regen when out of combat and stands still after 2 seconds. It's a good tool for early game mana regen as well. So first path, Animos. AN is a class that specializes physical combat with cake combos. Her skill kit is really smooth and can be hands-off easily between skill casting. Her fast kicking combo somehow is very satisfying to watch. She got some attack and movement speed passive, which makes her great at mobility when it comes to clearing for general dungeons. Her clearing is one of the best features of this class. She got many clearing skills in her skill kit. She can clear all type of dungeon really fast. I'll give her a solid 5 stars for that. But when it comes to bossing, it may feel a little underpowered if compared to the other Rinas. She relies on her 3rd job passive and Nature Force for max damage, and her skills percentage are a bit low for bossing. Her mana management is not good as well. She has a CL passive, along with her quick casting playstyle. Your mana burns out really quick due to the fast skill spamming with low mana refund from skills. When it comes to supporting, all Rinas can use Perfect Storm as a minor healing skill. I mean, that's better than nothing, right? Beside the base drop skill, AN only got 1 party buff, but the buff gives party good amount of extra physical damage and speed buff, which makes her support simple but useful, so she's okay as a support for parties. AN has very decent clearing. Her 3rd job passive gives her stable critical stat when the buff is on. You don't have to shock it too much for critical stat from your gear, which makes room for other stats like maximize or boss damage and reductions. Her great mobility makes you kind of addicted to her clearing speed when using her. And I think that's the part I love AN the most. But she's mana hungry all the time. 5 pots or more is necessary if you want to play her smoothly. And she relies on her self-buff setup. Managing buff is an important part of her. Skill rotation are really important too. Since her CDL passive can only activate 3 skills, and 2 of them is active skills, you need to be careful out of iframe. And best cycling, my cautious skill all went to CD and left you empty hands. But her clearing is remarkable. I remember I was very impressed when I tried her out the first time. It's just so satisfying, giving me Dynasty Warrior vibe whenever I play as IN. Second path, Daybreaker. DAB specialized on her arrow shooter technique. She is a typical magic cannon class with decent damaging skills. I recommended her to new players on my other video. She has good grade damage due to her passive, which makes her early game pretty easy since you can use more command arrow attacks. For clearing, she is a bit behind when compared within the arenas. She's somewhat lacking good clearing skills. As a ranger, her clearing skills have short range if compared to the other 2 physical combat classes, which is sort of weird to me. I know her hyperactive and MC skills are good for clearing, but those skills have such long CD, so I would just give her 3 out of 5. But don't get me wrong, her clearing is still good. Again, this rating is just between 3 arenas. So bossing is the best part. Ace in the Hole is one of the best damaging skill in game, but also the most mana consuming skill. You can hold down the skill key for constant damage, and meanwhile you can enter iframe as well, which makes her roster rate performance very stable. Rotating with your other skill is not hard as well. Mana wise, she got the best resources within all arenas. I mean, she used a lot of mana too, but her mana refund and regen are better. So I'll give her 3 stars for that. When it comes to support, she is a very decent debuffer. She gives damaging receiving debuff to mobs, can help all kind of party to amplify their maximum damage when a debuff hits. Freezing Arrow has long duration of freezing as well. Just positioning is very important, since you don't want to pop multi-freezing count when using it. She can be a freezer for party as well, so I'll give her 3 to 4 for supporting. She has solid damage on bossing, and her mechanic is very simple, very easy to pilot. She is a new player-friendly class and has good performance during all phases of the game, easy early to mid-game, not hard to find party on wrestle rate due to her stable debuffing. Easy to stay iframe with Ace. Her clearing is a bit behind if compared to the other 2 arenas. Managing Grand Arrow passive is a bit annoying at rates. The passive can be stacked up to 4 stacks, but it has short duration, and it can be easy to cut off since Raids has long cutscenes. Ace in a Hole is very useful, but kind of exclude her benefiting from CDL buffer like CEL or CC does, and also requires Grand Arrow stacks to deal maximum damage. Overall, Ace in a Hole is just so good for bossing. To be honest, I think this skill lights up the whole path in my opinion. Try her out if you want to be a heavy damaging cannon. Third path, Twilight. Twilight is a pure DPS class of Rina. This class has been through a lot of ups and downs, and she finally got back to the meta due to the recent balance. Her gameplay became pretty straightforward now. She's kind of a mixture between bossing and clearing. She requires more positioning and skill rotation for both clearing and bossing. Her clearing is very solid. She got good range clearing skills that follow paths. Clearing for her is just easy breezy. Well, she's not fast as AN, but she deserves that 4 stars. Bossing wise, her skills have good percentage. Her passive boosts her damage in a good amount as well. Along with her CDL passive, bossing is just very solid. But when it comes to mana part, oh boy, her mana burns even faster than AN. Her CDL passive can basically keep her skill spamming 24/7. Really, the only thing you need to concern with TW is really her mana consuming. So you need to prepare to hug all of your mana pot using Twilight. Supporting wise, she's not really a support tier class. Her 2 debuffing skills is not very sense out. Damage taken debuff and defense debuff. Evoke can debuff defense for a good amount, but the duration is too short. I mean, the debuff itself is pretty strong, and the long CD of the skills makes her debuffing is not very stable. Well, it's better than nothing, but Twilight is more of a DPS class. Debuffing is just kind of her bonus part. Twilight is good at both clearing and bossing. In fact, the recent patch put her into a good position of DPSing. I think she is one of the top DPS class in this meta now. Skill rotation became easier due to her passive. I mean, the CD on her kit is kind of not exist now. Unlike AN, she just needs to use those special active to pop the CDL passive. You can stay iframe while rotating between skills. Makes her kind of like a mobile version of DAB, though the mana consuming is horrible. She really depends on healer for mana regens. Sometimes even 6 pots can't help with her mana. But I think that's a fair trade-off with the super low CDL now. The lack of support ability kind of left her out for party if you are not DPS yourself. So I think if you are not gear ready, you will have a hard time finding parties for mid to end game contents. Well, Twilight player been through a lot. She finally finds her position after all the meta changing. I indeed felt her power now, and her cruel hunter style indeed make a big contrast with the other 2 Rinas. Pick her if you like her fatal combo style. As one of the oldest character in game, all Rina's playstyle are not too complicated. She's a good character that helps you explore the game if you're a new or return players. And I think a lot of you like this character as well, since she wins the vote this time. Shout out to this player helped me building this Rina video. Thanks for them providing all the info for different Rinas. I would be very lost without their help. To be honest, I wasn't very familiar with Rina beside DAB, but I feel like playing more Twilight after making this video. So, what do you think? Did you make any Rinas when first playing this game? Who's your favorite Rina? Let me know on the comment sections. And don't forget subscribing my channel, or you'll miss out the next voting sessions. Like if you enjoyed this video. I will see you all on next one.